Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Before we begin, if you're planning on falling asleep to this video, please introduce yourself in the comments or simply say hello. Every comment really helps. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to help us grow. Story 1. The Vanishing Hitchhiker. It was well past midnight when I found myself navigating the desolate stretch of the highway, headlights slicing through the darkness. The road seemed to stretch on endlessly, with only the occasional flicker of a distant street lamp to break the monotony. As I rounded a bend, a figure emerged from the shadows. A young woman standing alone by the roadside. Her presence was striking, almost ethereal, clad in a worn, old-fashioned dress that fluttered gently in the night breeze. She looked lost, her gaze fixed on the endless expanse of asphalt ahead. Without a second thought, I pulled over and rolled down the window, offering her a tentative smile. "Are you all right? Do you need a ride?" The words hung in the chilly night air, carried away by a breeze that seemed to whisper through the trees. She hesitated, her expression a mix of hesitation and relief. "Thank you," she finally murmured, her voice soft and distant. With cautious steps, she approached the passenger side of the car and slipped into the seat beside me. The silence that settled between us was thick with unspoken questions. I stole glances at her, trying to decipher the mystery that surrounded this unexpected encounter. Her features were illuminated by the dashboard lights, a pale face framed by dark, tangled hair, eyes that seemed to hold secrets untold. As we resumed our journey, the road ahead stretched into the unknown, each passing mile marked by the rhythmic hum of the engine and the occasional flicker of passing headlights. I stole glances at her in the rearview mirror, wondering about the story behind her presence on this lonely highway at such an hour. The night air held a chill that seemed to seep into my bones, mingling with the unsettling feeling that I had stumbled upon something beyond ordinary explanation. But for now, all I could do was drive, the quiet whir of the wheels against pavement punctuating the silence between us. She moved silently into the back seat, her presence casting a strange, quiet spell over the car. In the dim glow of the dashboard lights, she handed me a slip of paper with an address scrawled hastily upon it, a town about 30 miles away. As we drove through the night, I attempted small talk, trying to pierce the veil of her silence. "Do you live in that town?" I asked, my voice breaking the heavy silence that hung between us. She turned her head slowly, her eyes meeting mine in the rearview mirror. For a moment I saw a flicker of emotion, a fleeting sadness that seemed to wash over her features before she returned her gaze to the passing darkness outside. "No," she replied softly, her voice barely audible above the hum of the engine. "I used to." I felt a pang of curiosity mixed with unease at her cryptic response. What had brought her back to this place, and why the reluctance to speak of it? The miles passed in a quiet blur, the road winding like a ribbon through the night. I glanced at her in the rearview mirror again, and noticed how her face had changed. Her skin appeared paler now, almost translucent under the muted glow of the dashboard lights. It was as if the night itself had drained the color from her, leaving behind a ghostly impression. When we finally reached the outskirts of the town, I slowed the car, preparing to announce our arrival. "We're here," I murmured, turning to look at her in the back seat. But the seat was empty. A shiver raced down my spine as I realized she was gone. Panic rose within me, my heart pounding in my chest as I scanned the quiet streets bathed in the soft glow of street lamps. How could she have vanished so completely, leaving no trace of her presence but the cold imprint on the seat beside me? I stepped out of the car, the night air sharp against my skin, and approached the address she had given me. A small, weather-beaten house nestled on the edge of town. The porch light flickered hesitantly as I climbed the steps, nerves prickling at the back of my neck. An elderly woman answered the door, her eyes widening in surprise at my late-night visit. I stumbled over my words, trying to explain the inexplicable, The young woman who had disappeared from my car, leaving behind only questions and an address. The woman listened in silence, her expression shifting from confusion to understanding. "That sounds like my daughter," she whispered hoarsely, her voice trembling with emotion. She passed away years ago in a car accident on this very highway." I stood frozen on the doorstep, the pieces of the puzzle falling into place with chilling clarity. Had I encountered a ghost that night, a spirit condemned to wander the highway, searching for a way home? Confused and shaken by the bizarre turn of events, I navigated through the quiet town to the address scribbled on the slip of paper. The streets were deserted, enveloped in an eerie stillness that mirrored the unsettling calm that had settled within me. The house stood before me, a modest structure with peeling paint and a sagging porch, nestled beneath the watchful gaze of ancient oak trees. With a deep breath, I approached the door, my knuckles rapping hesitantly against weathered wood. Moments passed like hours before the door creaked open, revealing an elderly woman whose tired eyes held the weight of a lifetime's sorrows. She regarded me with a mix of curiosity and apprehension, her frail form framed by the dim light spilling from within. "I'm sorry to bother you at this hour," I began, my voice wavering slightly. "But earlier tonight, I picked up a young woman on the highway. She gave me this address." The woman's eyes widened in recognition, a tremor passing through her as she clutched the door frame for support. "Describe her," she whispered hoarsely, her voice barely audible above the rustling of leaves in the night breeze. I recounted the encounter, the young woman's ethereal presence, her silence, and the inexplicable chill that had settled in the car after she vanished. With each word, the woman's face grew paler, her features contorted by a mixture of anguish and disbelief. "That sounds like my daughter," she finally breathed, her voice trembling with emotion. She passed away years ago in a car accident on that very highway." A cold knot formed in the pit of my stomach, a realization dawning with chilling clarity. Had I encountered a ghost that night, a spirit trapped between worlds, searching for solace or closure in the familiar streets of her youth? I thanked the woman quietly, my mind swirling with unanswered questions as I retreated from the doorstep. The night air was thick with uncertainty, the encounter with the vanishing hitchhiker etched into my memory like a haunting melody. As I drove away from that house, the weight of the night's events settled upon me like a heavy shroud. Had I truly seen a ghost, or had my mind succumbed to fatigue and imagination? The line between reality and the supernatural blurred, leaving me with a lingering sense of awe and apprehension. The highway stretched out before me, its dark ribbon winding into the unknown. And in the silence of the night, I found myself haunted by the memory of a young woman, forever lost but never forgotten. A specter of the past, drifting through the shadows of memory. Story 2. The House in the Woods. While hiking in the woods near my hometown, I stumbled upon an old, abandoned house nestled amidst a clearing thick with tangled underbrush. The path leading to it was overgrown, as if nature itself had conspired to keep its secrets hidden from prying eyes. The house stood weathered and worn, its once vibrant paint faded to a dull, muted hue by years of neglect. Shattered windows stared out like empty eye sockets, and the porch sagged wearily under the weight of time. Ivy crept up the weather-beaten walls, weaving a tapestry of green around the decaying facade. It was clear that no one had set foot in this place for years, perhaps decades. Yet, despite its decrepit state, there was an undeniable allure that drew me closer, an inexplicable curiosity that compelled me to step through the threshold of the forgotten. The air inside was thick with dust and the musty scent of abandonment. Cobwebs hung like delicate veils, catching the faintest rays of sunlight that filtered through cracked ceiling boards. Furniture lay scattered and broken, a testament to lives once lived within these walls. As I explored further, each creak of floorboards beneath my feet echoed through the silent rooms, carrying whispers of stories untold. A sense of melancholy hung in the air, mingling with the tangible weight of memories left to decay with time. Outside, the woods seemed to hold its breath, as if keeping watch over the house and its secrets. Shadows danced along the walls as leaves rustled in the breeze, casting fleeting glimpses of the past upon the present. What had led to the abandonment of this once grand house? Who had walked these halls in days gone by? And what stories lingered in the quiet corners of its rooms? With each step deeper into the heart of the house, my curiosity swelled, a hunger to unravel the mysteries that lay dormant within its walls, to peel back the layers of neglect and time, and to unearth the forgotten echoes of lives once intertwined with this secluded sanctuary in the woods. I cautiously crossed the threshold, my footsteps echoing softly in the stillness of the abandoned house. The air inside was heavy with the scent of dust and decay, each breath I took mingling with the musty remnants of forgotten memories. The first room I entered was a parlor of sorts, its grandeur faded beneath layers of neglect. Tattered curtains hung limply from rusted rods, filtering dim light that cast long shadows across worn floorboards. Old furniture, draped in cobwebs like shrouds, stood as silent sentinels to a bygone era. In a corner, partially obscured by shadows, I spotted a dusty table littered with forgotten relics. A weathered photo album lay open, its pages yellowed with age. With trembling hands, I turned the fragile leaves, revealing glimpses of a family frozen in time. The first few photographs showed happier days. A mother and father smiling proudly, children playing in sunlit gardens. But as I turned further, the faces grew somber, lines of worry etched deep into their features. The last few pages were a testament to despair, a family torn apart by unseen forces, their eyes haunted by unspoken fears. The final photograph caught my breath, a stark image of an empty living room, bathed in the wan light of dusk. In the background, barely discernible yet undeniably present, a shadowy figure loomed near a curtained window. Its form was indistinct, a mere suggestion of a presence that sent a chill down my spine. I stared at the photograph, my mind racing with questions. Who were these people, and what had driven them to such despair? Had they glimpsed the same shadow that now haunted the recesses of my mind, or was it a trick of light and imagination? As I closed the album, a sound echoed faintly from somewhere deeper within the house, a soft creak of floorboards, like a whisper from the past urging me onward. With hesitant steps, I ventured further, my fingers trailing along walls adorned with faded wallpaper that peeled like memories unraveling. Each room held its own secrets, a kitchen with utensils still rusted in their holders, a bedroom where a child's toys lay scattered and forgotten. The house seemed frozen in time, suspended between past and present, its silence broken only by the occasional sigh of wind through cracked windows. In a corner of the upstairs hallway, I discovered a dusty desk upon which lay scattered letters, their ink faded but words still legible. They spoke of desperation, of a family grappling with unseen forces that tore at the fabric of their lives. The ink blots seemed to mirror the tears shed over these missives, their contents a testament to love strained to its breaking point. The sun dipped lower beyond the trees, casting long shadows that stretched like accusing fingers across the floor. I realized then that I had ventured too far into this house of secrets, drawn inexorably by the need to uncover the truth that lay buried beneath layers of dust and neglect. But as darkness began to settle over the woods, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was not alone, that the shadows that danced along the walls held more than mere memories, and that the house itself held its breath, waiting to reveal its darkest secrets. I heard it, a soft, unmistakable creak echoing from behind me. My heart lurched in my chest as I turned, my breath catching in my throat. Through the dim light filtering through cracked walls, I saw a shadow pass swiftly across the doorway, a fleeting silhouette that seemed to materialize and dissolve into the darkness beyond. Adrenaline surged through my veins, propelling me forward in a panicked rush. Without looking back, I fled from the house, my footsteps pounding against the warped floorboards and echoing through the empty rooms. Cobwebs brushed against my face like icy fingers, urging me onward as I stumbled through the parlor and burst out onto the porch. Outside, the world seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, the cool night air a welcome respite from the oppressive stillness within. I sprinted down the overgrown path, my senses heightened to every rustle of leaves and every whisper of wind that seemed to carry the faintest hint of laughter, a mocking echo of the house's secrets. As I reached the familiar trail, I dared to glance back at the abandoned house. Its windows stared blankly, shrouded in darkness, a silent sentinel guarding mysteries I could only begin to comprehend. The shadows danced within, twisting and shifting, as if concealing more than mere memories. To this day, I carry with me the weight of that encounter, the sense of unease that settled deep within my bones, a lingering feeling that someone, or something, had watched me from the shadows of that forsaken place. The memory haunts my dreams, a ghostly reminder of the thin veil that separates the known from the unknown, the tangible from the ethereal. The house in the woods remains a fixture in the landscape of my mind, a testament to the power of forgotten histories and whispered tales, where reality blurs and imagination takes flight. I have never returned to that secluded clearing, yet the lure of its mysteries continues to beckon, a siren call that whispers of truths buried beneath layers of time and neglect. As I journey through life, I carry with me the indelible mark of that night, an encounter with the unknown that left me questioning the boundaries of belief in the depths of fear. The house in the woods stands as a silent witness to my journey, a relic of a past that refuses to fade, its secrets buried deep within the tangled roots of the forest. And though I may never fully understand what transpired within those crumbling walls, one thing remains certain: some mysteries are best left undisturbed, their whispers fading into the echoes of memory, where shadows dance and stories intertwine with the essence of truth. Story 3. The Locked Room. When I was in college, I lived in an old house with some friends. It was a cozy place with squeaky floors and walls that seemed to have stories from long ago. Our landlord, a quiet man with a serious face, gave us keys and showed us around the house. He told us one important rule: never go into the locked room upstairs. The locked room was at the end of a dark hallway. Its door looked old and worn, with a shiny lock that caught the light. It was different from the rest of the house, which was lively with students coming and going from the nearby campus. We were curious about the locked room, of course. We asked our landlord about it, but he just said it's for storage and warned us not to go inside. His serious look made us nervous, so we never tried to open the door. As time passed, the locked room became a mystery to us. We joked about it during late-night study sessions and whispered about it when we were alone. But none of us dared to disobey the landlord's rule. The house seemed to hold its breath, like it knew secrets we couldn't uncover. Behind its walls, we made memories, laughing, arguing, and growing closer as roommates. But the locked room stayed quiet, a reminder of the mystery waiting on the other side. At night, when I lay in bed, I sometimes imagined I heard footsteps outside the locked room. It felt like someone was walking there, but I knew it was just my imagination playing tricks. One night, while we were in our rooms, we heard strange sounds coming from the locked room upstairs. It sounded like furniture moving and creaking. Curiosity got the best of us, so we decided to find out what was going on. We searched the house and found the key hidden in a drawer in the kitchen. The key was old and rusty, but it fit the lock on the door upstairs perfectly. With shaky hands, we turned the key and opened the door to the locked room. Inside, we expected to find something exciting or scary. But to our surprise, the room was empty, except for one thing: the dusty old rocking chair. It sat in the middle of the room, slowly rocking back and forth, as if someone had just left it. We stood there in disbelief, wondering where the sounds had come from. The room smelled musty, like it hadn't been opened in a long time. But there was no sign of anyone else being there. As we stared at the rocking chair, a chill ran down our spines. What had caused the noises? Who had moved the chair? The mystery of the locked room deepened, leaving us with more questions than answers. But one thing was certain. We had unlocked a part of the house that held secrets we were not prepared to uncover. And as we closed the door and locked it once again, we couldn't help but wonder what other mysteries lay hidden within our college home. As we stood there, looking at the rocking chair, the air around us grew colder. We could see our breaths in the dim light of the room. Suddenly, the chair stopped rocking, as if whatever had been moving it had vanished into thin air. Feeling uneasy, we quickly closed the door and locked it tight. None of us spoke much that night. We all felt like we had disturbed something that should have been left alone. From then on, we never dared to open the locked room again. The mystery of what was inside and why the chair moved remained unsolved. But we learned a valuable lesson: to respect the warnings we are given and to leave mysteries untouched. To this day, whenever I think about that old house in the locked room, I still feel a chill run down my spine. Some secrets are better left undisturbed, hidden behind locked doors in the corners of our memories.